Pour that beer out, buddy. Do it. Do
There
it
you
to
go.
it.
You ready? Here you go. Ready?
Pinky up. See how much of a man you are.
This is for you.
Drinking it. Drinking it. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I thought you were gonna skull that.
Thank you for downloading our recent episode. For more episodes like this, go to movieguyspodcast.podbean.com for more episodes. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. And tonight we're continuing our sci-fi love-eye retrospective series with a guilty pleasure movie of mine. I am excited to talk about this one. The Island of Dr. Monreau. Eric, how the hell you doing?
I was just telling Chad that I'm excited but not excited to talk about this movie. I do enjoy H.G. Wells, a lot of his work. This was a book of his, and there was an original few movies, right? There was one in the 30s and then one in the 70s.
Correct.
Of different names and kind of adaptations around it as well, too. And this was supposed to be a passion project from the director, Richard Stanley, that turned into anything but. So I am excited to kind of talk about this. Chad, have you seen this movie before?
Sadly, no.
Wonderful.
This is a recent entry into my life, and without giving too much away,
Did you know?
can't give anything away.
Did you know what you were getting yourself into before you press play?
Well, you gave me a little taste last week at the end. I think it was after the show had gone off the air, and you played the trailer for us off the YouTube, and I said, "Oh boy," and that's about it.
It is something. It is something. I went off of the recommendation of Jordan and also the internet to not only watch this movie, but watch the documentary that was about this movie, the Lost Soul Doomed Journey of the Island of Dr. Monroe. And wow, I did find that documentary enjoyable. A lot of answers.
Yeah. You know, that documentary is great. It's free for everybody. You can watch it on YouTube or you can watch it on Amazon Prime. It is from the point of view of the director, who got fired, within the first 4 days of filming?
4 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no!
It's through his point of view. And I tell you, when he showed his original artwork in the original idea of it, I want to see that movie. You know, his original idea was very different from what the movie is that we got, especially the cast, too. The cast changed dramatically.
Yeah, I would have much rather have seen this movie with the original cast that they had signed on for. It was signed on,
Yeah,
right?
signed on. So, Chad, in this documentary, they said Brando was always set to be Monroe, right? Who played...
Well, he had different ideas,
Right.
me, like for who wanted to be Monroe, but they took a window, they got Brando, that was kind of set.
Kind of had an Emperor Palpatine thing going on there for a minute, though.
Well,
Funny thing about that, because this movie, he had said, his words, Brando, that this movie was cursed. And from everything that I had found out from this documentary, why am I keep on saying it like that? Documentary. HR is going to grill me for that. He's kind of right. This movie was cursed, whether it be with him, with the original cast, which we will talk about, or with the director, the weather. I mean, everything just was not going right with this. But to go off that, Brando was originally not on board. He didn't want this, but then he had a one-on-one meeting with Richard Stanley, and he shared the vision, and he's like, okay, you know what? I like this. Let's do it.
Right, Richard Stanley's the director. The guy who was supposed to play Montgomery, the Val Kilmer role, Chad, signed on to do was James Woods. Okay? And then the main guy role, the guy, the survivor from the raft and everything, signed on, ready to go.
David Lewis.
Yeah, was Bruce Willis.
What?
But the reason why Bruce Willis is not in this movie is because he just got divorced with Demi Moore, and he couldn't leave the country because this movie was filmed on the outskirts of Australia.
Oh, man.
Which makes sense, though, because 1995, 1996, Bruce Willis, he makes he signed up for this, but he did 12 Monkeys, though, in substitution of this, right? So Bruce Willis was trying to find something crazy. And after that, he did Fifth Element, which, Chad, you and I reviewed. But Bruce Willis was looking for some crazy stuff. James Woods in the Val Kilmer role, I kind of want to see that. That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, especially because Montgomery was kind of a different character than what Val Kilmer had made him.
What do you mean? Tell us.
Not too much. Not too much. Obviously, they wanted him to be kind of this psychotic person, but Richard Stanley had said that he wanted Montgomery to kind of almost assimilate with the island. That he would see the inhabitants of the island as like his play toys, kind of a thing. So much, right? And I think it would have been different because Val Kilmer wanted less screen time, right? He wanted to shoot less hours. I'm sorry, not screen time, but he wanted to shoot less hours. And so his commitment to the movie was much less than what James Woods was willing to put into the movie. So right. I think if James Woods was in the movie, we would have gotten a bit more of Montgomery rather than Val Kilmer just being this, well, kind of a druggy doctor, right?
Right. So Chad, since you've never seen this before, Val Kilmer in 96, do you know at all, at the top of your head, what he just came off from making?
At 96?
Well,
I mean, Batman's got to be in there somewhere.
Batman was 95. This was his follow-up from Batman.
Well, I'm probably going to be in that minority here, but I absolutely loved Val Kilmer in this movie.
No, you're not. No, you're not, because I'm with you on this, too. And also, fun fact, his wife in real life served him divorce papers while on set. So Val Kilmer was not in the right frame of mind to make this movie. Val Kilmer is this movie.
He was the perfect frame of mind for this movie.
Yeah. He was completely. Chad, look, this episode could go so many different directions right now, right? I don't know where to lead this. I don't know if we should just go into the what the hell happened, what was the original vision, or do we just talk about it, or do we just kind of like mix and match? So, okay, Eric. Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you wanna really change it up, and we can give our ratings now. And then fight each other to the death about who's right and who's wrong.
We may as well
for the whole show, because I need you guys to go first because I'm stuck between two very different ratings and they're both amazing.
I agree. So, okay, how about this? Eric, I told you to check out this documentary. Help us out. The director comes in. He's a no-name director. Give us some clip notes, if you don't mind, since you watched the doc. What was his original vision compared to what we got? I mean, like, what was he planning on doing?
This was a passion project of his. He had been planning for this movie for a very, very long time. It was almost like he was inspired when he first saw it as a kid, and through the book as well, too. He was in love with it. He wanted a lot more interaction with the animals. He wanted it to be more of a tale of the the power of man and God and playing God and the humanity that comes with, I guess, being a man or human, like who is really the savage, who is, all this kind of playing God. So there's supposed to be a lot of symbolism between the main character, Dr. Moreau, and Montgomery playing God. There's supposed to be a lot of symbolism between the inhabitants of the island, even though they are animals, that they're actually not so different because their behavior is very similar to humans as well too. So there's a lot of comparison and juxtaposition that's supposed to be made in commentary to this movie, which he wanted to make, aside from obviously the grotesque part of it as well too. That's what he really was trying to do. I mean, he had pictures of, which I thought was a great comparison, in the room where one of the animals are having a baby, and Dr. Moreau is holding the baby, and he has a picture of him holding the baby in front of him like this, and then behind him, the surgical light around his head, almost looking like a halo around him. So, and they were going to do like a kind of a 12 stages type of thing. It was very well thought out. They had pictures and illustrations of how they wanted everything to look. They wanted the main characters to share a lot of screen time with the Dr. Moreau's kind of his servants. The what was it? I'm trying to put not the hyena man, not Lomai, Maling, the butlers.
Yes.
I guess his children. And so they were supposed to have a lot of screen time as well too, and they were supposed to kind of show that they're the civilized, but they can still revert. It goes on. I'm saying this, and there was really supposed to be a lot more of metaphor and detail of the overall story and kind of how the book conveys that as well too. I don't think we got that. I think we got more of a monster movie instead.
We got a monster movie for sure. So this movie opens up with 3 dudes fighting because they don't have any food or water. We get the opening voiceover. He said that his plane crash lands, and these are the 3 dudes that survived. And it starts right off with a fight. Right? Kill or be killed. I don't know why they're killing each other, because they're all 3 are thirsty. Yeah, right off the bat, it doesn't make any sense, right?
They're fighting. They've been stranded for a while, or I guess shipwrecked for a while, and they've just been floating for days. And they're fighting over the last canteen of water.
So okay, they're fighting. Our main dude. Who's our main dude? What's his name?
Remus.
Edward Douglas.
Edward Douglas
tells you at least a dozen times in the movie.
I know, for this show. Edward survives the fight. The other 2 dudes die from shark, right? And then he floats around a little bit longer, and then he runs into Montgomery on a ship, right? No idea why. So, Eric, we had a conversation off air about what was Montgomery doing. And when Montgomery takes him to the island, he has a basket full of rabbits. And I was telling you off air that my interpretation is that since they've already indoctored all the animals on the island, that Montgomery was going to other islands and taking animals from other islands to put on to put on it. Chad, what do you think? Do you think that's what Montgomery was doing? No?
I think they probably were introducing animals for experiments. That was going to probably be the intent. There was some scientific reason for it that we never got into because somebody broke the law and was killing him.
I don't know. Again, I mean, this guys, this is a hard one for me because I don't know how to do this episode. One hand, really, really want to go deep, right? And just talk about all the behind the scenes stuff and what happened. But then I also want to talk to Chad a lot, who has never seen or heard of this at all, And it's just I'm struggling because I don't know how to do this because, I mean, Chad, you had to just mind blown, right? As soon as Edward gets on the island and we get Brando and these animals, right? Like, what are we doing here? What is
I
this?
was along for the ride for just about the entire movie.
Really? So
Suspension of
you had fun.
disbelief achieved. Yeah, there were explosions. There was crazy monkey business, pun intended. There was a Matrix-like orgy towards the end there.
Okay, good. So you caught
know,
that too. Okay.
and this was before any of that came out. But yeah, man. I don't know if you want. Like I said, we can get off with the ratings. We can talk about our ratings.
I want. Let's do it. What is your popcorn rating, Chad? Please.
Well, that's where I'm struggling because I'm tempted. I'm tempted to give it a bag of butter, and I'm tempted to give it a medium.
Sure.
And that's
okay.
That's where I'm at because there were parts that were. I mean, part of this movie, the whole premise is just kind of ridiculous, and the way that the creature animal people are portrayed, I both could buy into it and treat it like it's Anaconda, like that. There's a certain slapsticky type of style to it that is just far enough out there that I'm like, okay, I'm here for it.
As you should. I believe Marlon Brando is on record saying that he was treating this as a Monty Python movie.
Jeez, really? Because he's so good in this movie.
He took a piss from day one, Jordan. Maybe not since day one, but because he was on board just as Fairuza Balk is. They're on board with Richard Stanley. They share the vision. They're just like, hey, cool, we're doing this. We like what's going on. Let's do it. But obviously, it just wasn't in the cards for him. That stinks for him. I will say that. Like at the start of it, it seemed like whatever was going to go wrong went wrong. Whether it be on production, whether it be on the weather, right? Whether it just be kind of on the actual transportation and means and finding location and just logistics of it, it seemed like doomed from that part. And it seemed like also that the studio was also very apprehensive about giving someone this new that big of a budget and letting it kind of, I don't know, it seemed like the people whose money was involved in it, they just like didn't feel confident with it, even though the actors were standing behind the director. It also seemed like the director, didn't have the proper team with him.
No, I agree with you, but I also call BS on the studio. Let's call the studio out. It's New Line Cinema. And Chad, buckle up for this one, Buttercup. New Line Cinema was a nothing dead end. Eric, you know this. Dead end studio, and people say that New Line Cinema is the house that Freddy built, right? Freddy Krueger built that studio. If it wasn't for Freddy, New Line wouldn't be around. All of his movies. And what the funny thing is that they didn't have any, the studio didn't have any trust in their young director, but they gave Freddy to Rennie Harlan, Chuck Russell, right? The guy that did Nightmare 5, the guy that did Predator 2, Steven something or whatever. I mean, like,
obviously they took risks with some directors. Like
they did.
David Fincher, Paul Thomas Anderson,
right,
and stuff like that too. So good for them. But as commercially unsuccessful as those movies were, they made money.
Correct. They made money, but my issue is, in this era of the early mid-90s, New Line started to have bigger names. They had, Robert De Niro in a movie of theirs that they were doing.
That was Wag the Dog. That was later on.
Right. Well, they were talking about in the documentary about how they had bigger name actors in their studio now. They just bought the rights at this point in time. For the time they were filming Dr. Moreau, they just bought the rights to Lord of the Rings. So it's like
Wag the Dog was 97, so it was kind of they're moving up a little bit. I think they had said in the documentary that they were transitioning kind of from like the little leagues to the big leagues, and so they were trying to be careful about their steps. And so that's where I think the apprehension was from the investors, thinking that they wanted something more, but they're getting still kind of like this grindhouse movie.
Which, though, I would argue, don't forget your roots. Because if your studio was the house that Freddie built, don't forget that. And you have a young...
Sure.
I'm just saying, you have a young director who has a vision, and the biggest star, maybe not box office, because Val Kilmer would be the biggest star box office-wise in this set, but Marlon Brando is backing this guy. You would think you would listen to the director. You would think.
Sure.
You would think. Completely off subject, but
Money talks. So,
Chad, you know who Ron Perlman is, right?
Yeah. Timu Thanos.
Yeah. He was in this movie as a beast person. Who was he?
Sayer of the law. He was the guy who was saying the actual rules and everything. He was the speaker for father.
I was telling Eric, wouldn't it have been better if he was Hyena? That seems like a Ron Perlman role.
Ooh. I don't hate that.
Would have been nice.
That would have been better.
But Jordan, why can't you just appreciate the final product that we got? I feel like the documentary has spoiled you.
You need to see it. I mean, it gives you a complete...
I think the documentary made me appreciate this movie more.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, okay, because Richard Stanley, he was doing his due diligence. He was doing a good job. People were on his side. When he went to Australia, he said that he didn't want to be met with, I guess, this was resentment from the locals. And so he personally sought out to reach the locals, the Aborigines, and tried to say, hey, we got a job for you, man. How about all of you come on in and we'll get you measured up and we can get you in this movie, get you some work. And a lot of Australians were extras in this movie, and they appreciated, at least from this documentary, they said that they really appreciated that, they thought, but here's the thing too, is that they appreciated the work, but they thought they were only doing this for what, Jordan, 6 weeks or something like that? Mm-hmm. They were supposed to be just doing these kind of as-needed shoots where they have to go in, do makeup, and do B-reel and all this other stuff. But instead, we got this tragedy of a production, and these people had to do a 6-month shoot. And a lot of the times they weren't even shooting. They would have to wait hours. They would wait hours doing makeup and getting all the prosthetics on in this heat. And they would sit around, and a lot of times they wouldn't even shoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's true. No, that's true. It was terrible. And then you had bad weather. It was a mess. This movie's very 90s, but what is so 90s about this movie is the Panther Lady, right? Introduction. Right, seductress, dancing, Shakira style, right? Hips don't lie on that one. Yeah,
Bobby Boucher's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Bobby Boucher's girlfriend. Yeah. What is her name again? Because her name is different.
Fairuza Balk. Yeah, thank you.
Fairuza?
Yeah,
okay.
Fairuza.
Oh, look, she great in the craft. Fun fact from the documentary as well is that in the book, she does not exist. And they did it in a 1930s movie. They introduced her to get sex appeal. So that's why they brought her back in for this kind of movie. I think she's great in this movie. Look, I don't have a problem with Brando. I don't have a problem with Val Kilmer. And I don't have a problem with her. Actually, it's kind of her main dude that I kind of have a problem with. I don't like him. I don't like Edward in this.
Yeah,
something about him that I
don't.
More.
Lewis.
Oh, really? Do you agree, Chad?
No, I'm genuinely curious.
It's something about him. It's like every time Val Kilmer was on screen and chewing up the scenery, I just absolutely just loved everything that he was doing. There were scenes in the middle of the movie where he was giving all the animals shot and he was making out with the pig ladies.
Yeah.
It's weird. It was just entertaining. you know. And Brando with Mini-Me, Mike Myers said that because of this movie, that's how he came up with the idea of Mini-Me for Austin Powers.
Oh, okay.
You know, and also
I,
his Mini-Me had a tail when they were giving the shots. That was weird. I don't understand that Mini-Me. Like, was it a animal creation gone wrong? A lot of questions on that one.
He wasn't supposed to be in the movie.
He was not supposed to be in a movie. He was a celebrity. Was it in Spain?
He was a celebrity that somebody had seen on TV. Brando saw him or something, or no, they saw him on TV, and so a lot of the production crew or makeup was just like, "Hey, man, look at that! Let's get him in some monster gear." And so they went over, they plastered him, and they got a body mold or body cast of him. They were going to put him in makeup and stuff like that too. As soon as that dude, hold on, what's his name? It's
Chad. That's a real guy, by the way.
Nelson De La Rosa is apparently is a celebrity, and in his own right, kind of like who's that one Serbian dude, the tiny little guy that likes to box. Anyway, internet celebrity. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Brando saw this Nelson De La Rosa guy and just absolutely fell in love with him. And it was just like, him. I want him next to me at all times, wearing what I wear, doing what I do. I want him. And so
that's how they got this guy.
Apparently he was a horny little shit too. Excuse me.
So we've talked about so let's talk about the actual core of the movie. So we talked about the history of it, the production of hell and all that stuff. But what is actually the end game here? So Monroe is a disgraced scientist from London who buys an island, in this movie's point of view, buys an island, and he wants to create the perfect being. So he takes animals that's on an island and just injects them with human DNA, prosthetics, plastic surgery to make these animals more human. That is his goal, right? Yes?
Yep.
That is his goal. So his goal is to create the perfect being out of an animal. That is a weird concept, right? So his idea, again, is, which I'm trying to understand, is here's a hyena. I'm going to screw with it. I'm going to surgically alter it. I'm going to give it human DNA and turn it into a human to do what? Cure cancer? To what?
So it doesn't do its justice in this movie, and I believe Brando says it in this movie, where 17 years of research and practice to be said in 17 minutes, I can't do it justice. He goes on to say a little bit more that obviously he's very, very, very close to his work being finished. He's very close to kind of getting there. You can see a lot of the creatures on the island, that some of them are like, first attempts, whereas others are, 17th attempt kind of a thing. From what I have gathered, it looked as though it was the intellect of a human and the civility of a human, but with the abilities of an animal, which are not properly shown in this movie. You get to see it a few different times with like Lo Mai, who is the cheetah-looking dude, where he's on all fours and kind of he's very agile and running around. Or some of the animals or the creatures, I don't know what you want to call them, are supposed to have like, a heightened sense of smell or vision or hearing. So kind of in that part, yeah. And I don't know if it's supposed to be like a life thing or like a, I don't know, organ or genetic thing. I'm sure they explain it more. I've never read the book in the book. So, but that's what I had gathered online.
So the Panther lady is slowly digressing back to herself, right? She's showing her fangs are starting to show a little bit, and her eyes are starting to become more feline. So even though that Monroe made the Panther lady into exactly what he wanted, she slowly is digressing back to her animal state. So eventually, if this movie never happened, she would eventually become a panther again. That's what the movie's saying?
I
Yes.
believe so.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So
Yes.
okay, so that is his end game. So now we had an off-air conversation, Eric, about why did Montgomery do this? What happened? So, Chad, I'm kind of curious with you on this one. So, Montgomery is on a boat getting rabbits, stumbles upon a raft, finds this dude, and doesn't once try to drop him off another island. He just brings him to this island with nothing but illegal activity. And then the only thing that he does is lock him into his room. Why wouldn't Montgomery just like drop him off at another island? Or why wouldn't he shoot him? Why would he? Because ultimately, Montgomery bringing Edward to the island is ultimately the island's demise. So why wouldn't he get rid of Edward? What do you think, Chad?
Because the Montgomery and the father and this group, they have this God complex already. They think they've got this perfect society. They've got the law. They've got all their, what could go wrong? They're, to this point, they're infallible. They've done all these science experiments and modifications on all these creatures, and what their demise is not even something that's conceivable, because they have everything else under their thumb.
Okay.
I would also argue that him coming to the island is not the demise.
Oh, okay. Well, argue with me on that one then.
Sure. Because the events that happened are not with his involvement or interference at all. He wants to leave the island, right? And in doing so, Issa, whatever her name is,
The Panther lady.
was like, I'll get you off. I'll get you off this island. And as they're running through the jungle, they run into Lomai, who had killed a rabbit. And it's forbidden on the island to eat meat, right? So, it's because it will probably help them revert back into their animalistic state. So, Lomai eats a rabbit, kills a rabbit, type of thing. We get to see later on that he gets snitched, and the father, Dr. Moreau, has a trial, right? And asks who killed the rabbit. It's Lomai. Lomai comes up, and as he charges, Dr. Moreau uses this little clicker to inflict the pain because he implants a chip on everyone in the island, and so kind of neutralizes Lomai. And he sits there and he's giving his speech, saying that no one should be killed on the island, no death, blah blah blah. And as he's saying that, Azazello, his other butler, black coat butler, comes up and shoots Lomai in the head. That's the start of the demise.
You're right. Because he out of nowhere just shoots him, and Brando's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And he's just like, "You said that you can't kill, Father. I just did what you," which is funny, which is kind of an oxymoron because then he kills, right? So it's
again, yeah.
It's kind of right. I kind of picture Monroe as like a John Hammond from Jurassic Park, right? Would you say that?
Sure.
You know, we got this guy that thinks that he just excuse me, can just create anything he wants. I mean, like, it'd be kind of funny if like Monroe was like, "I'm going to create an amusement park." You could see everybody walk around.
I get it, where he feels like he's in control the entire time.
Right. But then this is where we get a character that I really do enjoy. This is where we get Hyena Man, who again should have been played by Ron Perlman, who was friends with the leopard guy who gets killed. And Hyena Man discovers after Leopard Man gets killed, that there's this device within the bones, right? And that device is the shock, right? To make him, subservient. It's where Hyena Man takes that out of himself, and now he's free. Nothing can stop Hyena at all. And this is where Brando meets his demise, right? Hyena recruits a couple other animals, go to Brando's hut, whatever. And I actually enjoyed this scene. Hyenas is like, why did you create me, Father? Who am I? Why do I not look like you? Right? All those kind of things that comes up. And they completely tear Brando apart. And I was sad to see Brando gone. Because I know in the book he dies halfway through. But I was hoping he would stay longer because I did enjoy Brando in this role. Eric, you yourself have said that Brando is Monroe. I mean, I'm missing him.
Again, apparently this is nothing like what Richard Stanley wanted him to play. There was a delay in production. Richard Stanley kind of had this paranoia about him that he felt like he should be shooting something every day, and a lot of times the weather didn't agree with that, and so he would be stressing himself out. He'd try to shoot everything that he could. It was also difficult because the actors weren't coming on time as they should. Apparently Brando was 2 weeks late. Now, going back to The Curse, because we already said that Bruce Willis was signed on to do this, but then he was getting divorced, so he couldn't do it. Val Kilmer was supposed to sign on to do this, who apparently, by the way, was just a dick the entire time. And even before, too. He was just a narcissist. He was called a school bully the entire time.
Yeah, the documentary.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Apparently he was just like this egomaniac kind of a thing. Anyway, that he was getting divorced as well as about too, and he found out not through lawyer or his wife, but through the news that he was getting divorced.
Right.
So there was a bit delay on that part too. He and Moreno would spend all their times in trailers and refused to come out until the other one came out first. Brando, by the time he came to location, Richard Stanley was already fired. And so he was just like, fine, I don't even care anymore. And he started to just make these ridiculous requests. He started to just go crazy. The character that he was playing was nowhere near the character that Richard Stanley wanted him to play. He came in with this accent that everyone was just like, I don't know what that is. He came in that all white getup in whiteface, and people were just like, we didn't.
What are you doing?
We didn't think. Yeah, we had a different costume for you. And he's like, no, I'm wearing this. I'm wearing this now. The sun. Oh, it's too hot.
So,
oh crap.
Film geeks like us know that this is Brando's last movie. He died. What did he die of? Did we know?
A broken heart. No, because during this, his daughter killed herself.
That's true. See that, Chad?
So, and before this, rather.
this movie.
Because before this movie, he did another movie that never got released, right? Because, he did a movie that never got released, and he walked off, or the production stopped of that movie, and he went from there right to here. And what was he coming up? Oh, what was his connection? Oh, Don Juan DeMarco.
Yeah, Don Juan. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the producers or EPs or production, I don't know, whatever, from that movie, New Line Cinema, was the link in the chain to get him onto this movie.
So the Beast People tear Monroe to shreds. Our main character that the movie's based off, the name is gone. And then they're going to start running amok. And Montgomery goes nuts. And this is where I really, really enjoy Val Kilmer in this movie. He becomes Brando. He says that there's a way to cure Panther Lady, but we'd have to use the main character Edward's blood to do it or something. He becomes one with the Beast People. He is nuts. And I don't know, for some reason, I like it. I mean, okay, so Chad, Eric, I don't know if you guys agree, but if I were to have done this movie, I would have gone like, okay, Montgomery. Okay, this is how I would have done it for him going nuts. So go with me on this. I would have wrote it as Montgomery was the only person that actually believed in Monroe, and Monroe knew that, and Monroe taught Montgomery everything that he knew. So because Monroe knew that he wasn't going to have time because maybe he had cancer or he just knew his time was going to be up. So when Monroe died unexpectedly, this is when Montgomery goes wacko, right? He's just like, oh, I'm not ready for this yet. I'm not prepared for this. He taught me everything, but it's not time yet. So he goes to his animalistic ways, right? And he becomes one with the animal people. That's what I would love to have seen in this movie, right? Maybe something like that. But no, he just goes completely nuts. He's wearing whiteface. He's wearing the Brando getup, and now he's just involved in animal orgies. That's what he does.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. Like what you're describing, in a way, I would argue, plays out on screen. Like we see Moreau's keeping everything together somehow. Once he's gone, Montgomery loses it. He gets rid of the serum. He wants chaos. He wants anarchy.
Was
And
Montgomery?
That's what
Moreau represents law, and without law, there is chaos, right?
right.
Do you think that Montgomery was always chaos? Because he never struck me as stable to begin with. Chad.
I think he was, to a certain extent. He was probably the manifestation of tendency to lean that way, even in the presence of law and order.
Okay.
But even with Moreau around, he still kind of pulls back to center. But I mean, as soon as he's dead, the body's still got to be warm.
Right. Yeah. Because Brando is now
he's reading
gone.
the Bible over the speaker.
The Monroe's gone. He's dead, and now the animals are taking over. No more scientific experiments. Right. Panther Lady is reverting back. I forgot, because I haven't seen this movie in quite some time, so prepare for this review. I forget that after the animal orgy, and Val Kilmer gets killed, that she gets hung. I forgot about that. I thought she lived all the way to the end. I felt bad for her. So for me,
Poor kitty cat.
nice. My favorite character in this movie, truly, is Montgomery. Second is Monroe, just because it's like, how is this even a thing? But Hyena Man, I could really follow Hyena Man, right? Like, he kind of gives some good points, right? He's just like, hey, we're animals. We're not supposed to be humans. Like, like this dude came here and screwed us all up and was like, is trying to create us. So we're going to go back to the way we're supposed to be. Like, I kind of dig that, right? Like, I thought Hyena Man was not necessarily the villain. I thought Hyena Man was kind of like, I mean, yes, he's the villain because the movie says he's the villain, but I get what he's saying, which in turn makes me like the movie more, because it's always nice to get the bad guy's point of view, right? And I liked everything he was doing. It made sense for this movie. This second half of this movie is really entertaining to me. I don't know how you guys feel, but Hyena Man and everything I enjoy. No, you don't like it?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
Like, well, no, I'm not good with the movie at all. Like, to be honest with you, but I mean, Shed already gave his popcorn, and I'll give mine. Then I feel that okay. There was a review that I saw online, and I felt like it said it perfectly, because I remember when this movie came out, I saw it.
Yeah.
When it like a year later on HBO, and I wanted it because I don't know, I liked Val Kilmer, I liked Batman, I liked Ghost in the Darkness, man, I liked The Saint, I like Val Kilmer, like, right? He was just kind of the it guy right now in the 90s. The review was something like, I saw this movie when I was a kid, and it was the first time that I realized that movies could be bad. That's what I think this movie is. It feels very much as I learn more about it now, I can see and understand like, oh yeah, no, this was a rescue job. This felt like they just did their best to kind of throw what they had together and make a movie. They took there's a porcelain plate that fell on the ground, and they did their best to glue that thing back together. And they got this. I agree with you a lot that it feels like Marlon Brando is great in this movie because he is just playing. He's just having fun. He does not care. A lot of the stuff, like you said, was improvised. A lot of the stuff was just him going off the cuff. That ice hat, he brought that.
Yeah,
he brought that.
Yeah, the ice hat. He was like,
that was his own thing.
That's true.
Where did he get that?
That's true. Marlon Brando brought that on set. Yeah.
He asked for peacock feathers because he felt like it would be great to go get me peacock feathers. And there was like, I don't know where you can. Some art designer went to like a neighboring farm and found a peacock and pulled feathers from it and used it. Like, he was just making outrageous requests. He was just kind of having a fun time. Fairuza had a one-on-one with him because she's just like, oh, I want to go over kind of like our dynamic and our scenes together. And he's just like, oh, honey, no, you're getting paid. I'm getting paid. This movie is god-awful trash. Just sit down and enjoy the ride. It does not matter. He didn't know any of the script.
That's true.
When he got there, he didn't know any of his lines. He didn't read the script. He had an earpiece, and he had his assistant read to him his lines in the earpiece on set. He did not care.
I'm so glad I
Val
showed
Kilmer
you this
obviously just wanted to. I think it was. I enjoyed the documentary more than I did the movie.
I could tell.
Val Kilmer obviously just wanted to get in and get out. He did not care as well either. David Thewlis, who was not in the documentary, although he was replaced as well too. So originally the character was supposed to be Bruce Willis. Then they got another guy, and then he basically called his agent in production and was just like, dude, get me the hell out of here now. Because the new director that came in to save it, Frankenfurter, whatever his name is.
That's his name.
John Frankenheimer?
Frankenheimer, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently he was just old school and whip him with the stick kind of a guy, you know? What I say goes kind of a thing. We're doing this, we're doing that. And it was verbal insults and yeah. David Thewlis had said that basically this was a nightmare. He doesn't want to bash or say anything bad about the movie because he feels like he'll be blacklisted from Hollywood. Fairuza Balk said that she left at one point, right?
Yeah.
She asked the driver to take her to Sydney, which is on the other side of the continent, and he did. And she just like left. But then her agent was just like, you can't do this. You can't walk off a set because then you'll be blackballed or blacklisted from Hollywood. So she had to go back, and it was apparently just a nightmare of a movie. I agree with you on David Thewlis that on Edward Douglas that it feels like he's acting in the wrong movie. Mm-hmm. That he's overacting in a lot of parts, or he's kind of doing this thing. And it's just like, I don't know, man. This movie has now gotten really silly Monty Python vibes, and it feels like you're playing like in like a horror movie, but like no one else is.
So then
it feels just kind of.
So then, since you're doing this, since we're doing a little unorthodox here, then I mean, what are you going to give this movie then? What is your official popcorn rating then for Dr. Monroe? What are you going to give it?
Oh, it's a small bag, and the only reason why I'm giving it a small bag is because I watched that documentary that was just like, oh, you know what? Actually, I think I appreciate this movie a little bit more. Had they waited and stopped production to shelve it, or had they really put faith in Richard Stanley, I think we would be having a different review of this movie. And I think culturally we would be talking about this movie differently. But instead, we got this crap show of what this movie was. You know what it gave me vibes of was Caddyshack. Not the movie, but the production. Do you
Yeah.
You know anything about how they make Caddyshack?
I know, but educate
About
Chad.
how-
Chad, do you know? He's gonna say no.
Behind the scene, no.
Apparently in Caddyshack, a lot of the production were very new. A lot of the actors either didn't get along with the directors or in the studios, and it was just kind of chaos. And so, they didn't really know what the shooting schedule was. They were just kind of making it up as they went. So, the majority of the time, a lot of the actors, both in this movie and in Caddyshack, were just partying. That's all they did. They just went back to their little dorms, and they were just hooking up. They were doing drugs. They were getting paid, so they were like playing. They were like buying games and buying like all this stuff, and it was just parties. They would party all night, and then they'd get up at 7 in the morning to do their production. Realize that there was no production, call it early, and then they would just go party again. And so a lot of the people were just like, yeah, we just stopped. We stopped caring, and we just started partying. Especially when like Val Kilmer left, like they're just like, oh, weight was lifted. That's, same with Caddyshack. Like they basically were just doing coke and drinking and smoking every night on the set of that movie.
So Eric is going to give the Island Dr. Moreau a small. Chad, have you made your decision yet on what you're going to give your popcorn rating to? No?
I might need to. No.
No?
No.
Not yet?
Because I'm still. I could go either way. I could do a medium bag with some butter, extra butter.
Okay, hold on now. But talk about that real quick. So you seem like you're kind of in my ballpark here. Medium bag with butter? You really like this movie?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was just over the top. That there was, I don't think they were trying to win any awards by any means. It felt like a 90s movie, which can be kind of a shtick like thing anyway, just because, this is, there's such a thing as just enjoying a movie for what it is.
And it seems like you enjoyed this.
And they were never going to make a sequel. It was never going to be this huge moneymaker. I outside of, what did you say, Eric? What was the rating?
4.6 on IMDb.
Yeah, see, I'm not there. I'm higher than that.
So you really okay?
I think,
but Chad though,
no. And to Chad's in his comments, there are people. This movie does have a cult following in those people who are not watching this movie seriously, and it's going. I don't want to say like Troll 2 territory, but they find it amusing in how silly and it can be, and how wild it is, and how just unusual it is. So I think people do find that. I don't know if you're going to find this at a midnight showing anytime soon, but
if my wife heard me say this, she would probably kill me. But it feels like, crap. What's the movie with David Bowie and Labyrinth?
Labyrinth, yeah.
Yeah, kind of feels like that to me.
So what is your popcorn
Sure.
rating then, Chad? I mean, what are you going to give this one?
I'm giving it a medium. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm giving it a medium.
Good for you.
I feel like if I gave it a bag of butter, that would be like, it's so terrible, but it's great. But I actually enjoyed watching it. There wasn't a whole lot. I'm trying to like make dinner and do stuff while watching, but I guess I wasn't distracted by the flaws to be like, all right, is it over yet? And it wasn't over 2 hours long. I didn't really feel like there weren't a lot of moments where I was like, oh, where am I in this movie? I was along for the ride, and I wasn't too distracted by its flaws, and for that, I'm giving it a medium.
So a small for Eric.
There you go. 96-minute runtime. So
A medium for Chad. I'm going to back Chad on it. I will go a medium on this one. Simply because I...
That's why we're best friends.
Well, look. So Eric and I have agreed and also disagreed on a lot of different movie reviews. This movie just falls in that category to where I'm told I'm not supposed to like it. Right? But I do. Like, the grotesqueness of the animals. Like, we didn't talk about the prosthetics that much. These prosthetics look gross. Like, I mean, like, I feel dirty when I watch this movie when I see the beast people. I mean, like, it looks gross. Which gets a reaction, right? So I enjoy that. Knowing that this is Brando's last movie before he dies, like that just has an urban legend with it, you know. Movie's very 90s. I'm like, how do you go from Batman to this? Right? This all these questions I have with this movie. So I guess I'm kind of more interested into the lore of this movie than the actual movie itself. If that makes sense. Like, I don't hate what I watched, but I definitely can see what Eric is saying. Like, there is some BS in it. But for some reason, though, I just can't dog on it. You know, like, it's the same for, like, Eric and I had this off-air conversation, like, you know, Kevin Costner and The Postman. Everybody hates that movie. I actually enjoy that movie. You know, so this is one of those kind of movies, right? Where it's just like, I enjoy it, but everybody hates it. I just like the concept of it. I think the characters are crazy. Edward is not a main character to me. Like, so who cares? I really like the outlandish characters. So, and I'm so glad, Eric, that you got a chance to watch the documentary. I'm really glad you watched it because that just gave you a whole nother perspective of where this movie was coming from. Right? Like, that movie,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the documentary is great. So, for me, I'm going to give it a medium just because of everything that I said. I really do enjoy it. Chad gives it a medium. Eric, you give it a small. That's a bigger popcorn than I thought you were going to give it, Eric. I thought you were going to give it a bag of kernels. So, evidently, this movie is not Meg.
that documentary saved it
Right there.
Because it really did.
Because it's not Meg 2 category for you. So
That's probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, Jordan.
I know.
But this movie, like, it definitely feels that, like, it's an unfinished project.
It is unfinished.
I can definitely see after that, watching that clearly there was a shift somewhere in this movie from what it was supposed to be to what we got now. And it feels like this director just kind of came in and tried to do his best just to make a quick kind of movie and throw it in there. Richard Stanley is an unusual character. It seems like you could ask him one question and you'll get a 3-hour answer.
True.
He just kept on going and going. We didn't even talk about, and we don't need to, about how he got witchcraft involved in the making of this movie.
It's true. Chad, behind the scenes, Eric and I were talking, and I was like, hey, there's a documentary. Check this out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just get through like the first 15 minutes because it's dry as hell and you'll love it. Eric, do you agree with that? Like, the first 15 minutes of this documentary, it's just this director just rambling for 15 minutes.
It's about him. And it's just like,
yeah,
just like, dude, you talk a lot, man.
And then eventually, after he stopped talking, then the documentary got interesting. So it's something to see.
All right.
And
I'll have to check it out.
listen, I could talk a lot too, but this guy just has like that monotone kind of autistic rant kind of thing where he just keeps on going and going and going and going and going. It's just like, okay, listen, dude, like, I just asked, how are you doing? Just I didn't like.
And is in a smoking,
And he has he has a hat on the entire time
because he's cool.
like a Crocodile Dundee kind of hat. No, like that little like a hunter kind of. I don't know.
Crocodile
Like
Dundee.
one of those hats you'd see, kind of kind of like the dude who'd wear like that hat and like a leather trench coat to like a Ren fair or something like that, and just say, "What the hell?"
I seen you play knifey spoony before. Really? That's what you called them? I would have called them chazwazas.
So, dude, you're wearing a leather coat and leather boots. It is 86 degrees out. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this Sci-Fi Love-I retrospective series continuing for this year. Eric and Chad, thanks so much for joining me. Check us out at Movie Guys Podcast at podbay.com or wherever you get your podcasts on. We're on that platform. And we'll be back next Thursday for another awesome episode. Have a good night. If we do a Western retrospective series, we have to do Wild Wild West. I mean that. But see, now this is where I'm pissed off a little bit, though. And now explain why I'm pissed off. Because you and I both know that Wild Wild West is absolutely horrible. We know.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't want to review Showgirls.
No.
Which I feel that Showgirls will be just like the conversation we're going to have. It's going to be more about the making and what happened and how did this happen compared to the movie.
I think you just want to watch Showgirls and talk about